Morning, guys. It's been a minute since I made a video anyway. But this is for the Ram guys, because I've got a question on my old Dodge Ram. I had some issues. It's a 90, first of all. It's a 90 power Ram W150. It's got throttle body fuel injection. And in this particular model, the voltage regulator is integrated into the computer, and about 2 years ago, it failed on me. And I just didn't charge the battery anymore. So instead of getting a new computer, I did the bypass and just used an external voltage regulator and wired it up to the alternator, and everything was good. And by the way, I got a new alternator at this same time, so if anybody's thinking, you know, that could also be part of the problem. But then I had my fuel pump go out, and then I had an injector go out, and this truck sat for like 2 years before I ever got around to fixing those things. So fast forward to today, everything works fine, except now the voltage regulator seems to be failing again as it oscillates between like 12 and 16 volts. So check it out. This is what it does. And it really doesn't seem to matter like how fast I'm going or like how fast the engine speed is. It seems to at times, but it's really not consistent. Like certain times there are certain engine speeds that will stabilize it, and then maybe the next day the same exact engine speed won't stabilize it. I mean, you can see it stabilizes a little bit if I rev the engine a little bit, but so let's take a look at the engine and see what's going on so I can show you guys what I did. So there's the new alternator. I don't know if the belts are too loose, if I need to tighten them. One of them's pretty tight, and the outside one, as you can see, is a lot looser than the other one. I don't know if that's actually causing a problem or not. I also have the wires run here. This green wire runs all the way back behind the firewall there and over to the regulator on the other side. There's the external voltage regulator. It's got its two field wires hooked up, power source is fused, and then the green wire is just a redundant ground wire. It's mounted to the firewall there, sidewall, I mean, whatever. So I'm wondering, what the heck did I do? Is it a bad ground? So yesterday I put a new terminal on my ground. I haven't checked the resistance in the wires yet, so I am not ruling out that it's a bad ground just yet. But this wasn't a problem until I did the external voltage regulator and let it sit for 2 years. So I'm just wondering, like, what the heck? Is it interference? One other thing I noticed that I thought might cause a problem is the wiring harness that I used actually runs right by the ignition coil. And I'm wondering if that ground wire is picking up some kind of interference, or the field wires are picking up some kind of interference, and I just need to reroute the wire away from the ignition coil to where it's not doing that. I don't know if that's the case or not, though. It's a bunch of things. It could be bad ground, it could be a bad alternator, it could be a bad voltage regulator, it could be bad wiring. So I'm just wondering if you guys have any insight, if anybody's experienced the same thing after doing the bypass, where you put an external regulator in to replace your internal one. Anyway. It doesn't seem to affect the way the truck runs, although it does make my lights flicker at night, and that's kind of obvious. The truck runs like a top otherwise. So if anybody else has had an issue with the 89, 90, 91 fuel injected voltage regulator, I know I was reading the forums and I did Google search this topic to see if I could find the answers there before I bugged you guys, but not so much. It was more of a problem with diesel engines, first gen Rams with diesels, but nothing that had the gas engine problem. And there was a couple people that had the same thing, kind of, is what's going on with me. Theirs seemed to be worse, where it wasn't charging the battery properly, or it was overcharging the battery. I don't seem to be having that issue either. So it's weird. We'll go for a drive here in a second, and we'll see if there's any particular engine conditions in which it stabilizes. It's in right now, it's still going. I don't know why. I'll be right back. I gotta open the gate. I don't plan on keeping this set up forever, so I don't really care to fix it the way it was before. Eventually I'm going to put a carb and a different engine in this truck. It's got a 318 right now, which is great. It's very reliable. Put it through hell and it just keeps going. But I want to put a 360 in there. So those are a little bit more fun, a little bit more bottom end power, which is what I like. And I'll probably put lower gears in the truck too and some bigger tires on it. Because this one's my toy and my daily driver. So yeah, not sure what's going on, but let's take a drive here and we'll find out. As we're watching here, going downhill, it does stabilize as I'm cruising downhill a little bit. Now I'm in 4th gear and just coasting downhill. This is what it does. There's like no load on the engine, or if anything, a reverse load on the engine. And it stabilizes as I hit about 40 miles an hour. It seems to get a little bit better. So you guys, I don't know. What do you think is causing that? Should I get a different voltage regulator? Maybe a better one? Maybe an actual Mopar one? I just got, you know, some cheap shit from Advanced Auto to do this one. Because that's still kind of bouncing around a little bit. I mean, it's not that bad. That wouldn't make my lights flicker at this particular range, but it should be pretty much still, just like all the other gauges. You know, like my oil pressure gauge is okay. Everything else is good. It's just that voltage regulator. And I really don't think it's the gauge. I think it's actually fluctuating like that. So now we're going up a hill here. Got a load on the engine. Still pretty stable. Downshifted to 3rd here. A lot better in 3rd gear. 30 miles an hour, light throttle going uphill. So I shouldn't say light throttle, about half throttle. So that's kind of how it is. And then there's other times when I drive and it's totally steady, like nothing ever happened. Next time I start it up, it oscillates again like it did when I started it up today. And it's a lot worse when I have the lights on too. So let me turn my headlights on and I'll show you what it does then. So, oh, here we are back to like coasting in 4th. So let me show you what happens when I turn the headlights on. Now it oscillates crazy, like 2 volts in each direction at least. So that's just what I have to deal with when my headlights are on, and that's not even the brights. The brights make it do worse. Engine speed in 3rd, doesn't stabilize at all. So if there's a draw, like a headlight draw on the system, this is what it does pretty consistently, no matter how, you know, what my engine speed is. If I turn the headlights off, it stabilizes a little bit. So that's kind of telling me it's got to be the voltage regulator or a bad ground or a short circuit or maybe even an open circuit. Oh, one other thing. Check engine lights on. Code 41 field circuit error, which I expected because that was there before I installed the voltage regulator when the one, because it's still sensing that the one inside of the computer is dead. And so I believe there's a circuit that you can wire up and get rid of that code that will basically simulate the field circuit that it's trying to sense, and then you won't get that code anymore. But I'm pretty sure that's why my engine light is on. I might have other codes at this point too. I haven't run diagnostics on here for a couple of years. Look at that. Now it's like totally stable. 37 miles an hour, dead steady. It's crazy. Unless I put my lights on. Put the lights on and it starts bouncing around again. So I hope that's enough information to help maybe somebody that's experienced this particular issue before to solve that. I mean, because there's a number of things I could do, and I don't want to just start throwing parts at my truck needlessly like I usually do. So anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I appreciate your help, and you know, keep on driving them Rams. Peace out.